to tell you 10 things that you're doing right now to look hot as fuck that are actually doing the exact opposite. The gadget that you bought to fix your face can feed the exact thing that you're trying to kill. So this is not a lecture. It's just me texting you everything I wish somebody had texted Deb before she lit her fucking face on fire. So let's get into it. Let your skin heal. Your face doesn't need another product. It needs a restraining order from you. I did 4 sessions on my face and my neck, and it gave me I'm going to tell you 10 things that you're doing right now to look hot as fuck that are actually doing the exact opposite. And I know I spent $1.3 million making most of these mistakes, so you don't have to. So if your bathroom looks like a tiny Sephora, your monthly treatment bill could pass for a mortgage payment, and your face and body still won't cooperate, this one's for you. Hi friends, I'm Cynthia Garcia, and this is I'd Like to Thank Myself. Now, quick disclaimer, I cuss a lot, like a shit ton. That's just how I talk. So if that's not for you, this is your stop. But if you stay, don't come at me in the comments, Brenda98237, because I just fucking warned you. But if you are staying, grab a drink because we have got some shit to talk about. And if you like this kind of thing, then I would say subscribe because I am here every Tuesday helping you get hot as fuck. Real quick, before we start, I want you to picture someone. Now, we all know her. She is the woman doing the absolute most to look good. You know, the red light mask, the supplement drawer that needs its own zip code, the 2-hour workouts, the whole operation. I'm going to call her Deb. Deb feels good. And the reason I know Deb so well is that for longer than I care to admit, I was Deb. So when I point at these 10 mistakes, just know that I made most of them first with total confidence and a platinum card. So this is not a lecture. It's just me texting you everything I wish somebody had texted Deb before she lit her fucking face on fire. So let's get into it. Chapter 1, the dark spots that you're treating that you're actually making worse. I know. And I'm going to tell you what that is, but coming up, I'm also going to share with you the retinoid that had me peeling like an actual snake and the treatment that cost me 13 grand and a piece of my own face that I'll never get back. But first, let's talk about melasma. You know, those splotchy brown patches that move into your cheeks and your upper lip and refuse to leave, kind of like squatters. This comes up in the Vanity Club constantly, and there's so much bad information out there that women are doing everything right and making it worse. See, most people think that melasma is only a sun problem, but it's also a heat problem, completely on its own, no sunlight required. And there's real research on this now. So hot yoga, saunas, a steaming hot shower, even the stove when you're making dinner, all of it turns up the heat on those spots. And here's the one that's going to make you say, are you fucking kidding me, Cynthia? It's the red light mask. I know what I know. Stay with me. Back in the day, Deb would strap on her $200 mask every night like a sexy Hannibal Lecter, dead motherfucking certain that she was doing something amazing for her face. And red light masks do have real benefits. I love them. But here's the part that matters for melasma, the heat. See, any device that runs hot, a warming mask, a laser that heats your skin, it can quietly make your spots darker. So the gadget that you bought to fix your face can feed the exact thing that you're trying to kill. And if you've got a deeper skin tone, this matters more for you, not less, because melasma loves deeper skin and heat-based devices are riskier on you. So this is not a one-size-fits-all process that we're all in. And if you do want an at-home device, then I would point you to a cold laser so it works on every skin tone and doesn't heat up the skin and make your melasma worse. All right, chapter 2, the most powerful anti-aging thing that you can put on your face and how you're using it completely wrong. I know. And still coming up, I'm going to share with you the comment that a stranger left on my page here that made me want to throw my phone across the room. You're not going to believe it. But first, retinoids. This is the single most proven anti-aging thing that you can put on your face. The science isn't even close. And most people quit within like the first month of starting them because they use them like a maniac. And I would know I was the maniac. This was peak Deb, 100%. So when I first started retinols, I did what I do with everything, which is decide that I'm special and that the instructions are for other people. Why am I like this? I had my dermatologist write me a prescription for tretinoin. I know, I just went for it. I was like, fuck it. And I treated it like body lotion. I slathered that shit on every single night. And a few days later, my face was on fire. My skin started coming off in sheets. And it wasn't like, cute little flaky flakes. Sheets, like sheets. I looked like a snake that was going through something personal. See, here's what I didn't know at the time and why I'm now sharing this with you. Retinoids come in a ladder, weakest to strongest. Now, regular retinol with an OL is the gentle one at the bottom. Retinol, whatever, AL is the middle, stronger, but kinder. And tretinoin, well, that shit is at the very top, the very strongest. So I started at the top of the ladder and fell straight the fuck off. So if I were starting today, I'd start on the low rung with the retinol and climb, I'd use it slowly. I would do it a couple of nights a week and work my way up from there. See, a retinoid used the right way for a couple of years is the closest thing that you can get to buying a time machine. And quitting in week 3 isn't your skin that's failing you. You just tried to go up the ladder too quick. The product was never the problem. The maniac who skipped every instruction was. Hi, I'm maniac. That's me. All right, chapter 3, the reason that your glow is actually a cry for help. And then I'll tell you about the worst $13,000 that I ever spent. Wait for it. So chapter 3, this is the whole more is better trap. No, pure Deb. I lived in this trap. Like I owned property there. I paid taxes, like you name it. I had a whole shelf of skincare. I had acid, retinols, vitamin C, scrubs, all of it. And I would use that shit every single night because I thought, well, if a little works, then a lot works faster, right? No, no, wrong. When my face got red and tight and stingy, I was like, oh, yay, it's working. It's working. I can feel it. It was not working. That was my skin barrier waving a white flag, and I just didn't pay any attention. I was like, oh, that's a cute flag. That's a cute flag. And I just kept putting shit on my face. Like I kept exfoliating like I was trying to refinish a deck. Here's what I wish I had known. When your face is red and tight and stinging and breaking out in ways that it never used to, that's not your nice, expensive skincare products finally kicking in. That is damage. And it turns out more is just more. I wrecked my skin barrier so badly, I had to stop everything and go back to the basics. I was just like using a mild cleanser and a moisturizer and rebuild all of it from scratch. So if it were me, I would start slow and not overdo it. A gentle cleanser, my rewritten Show the Face Up serum because it has everything packed in, a good barrier moisturizer, and sunscreen. And that's it. Nothing else for a few weeks. Let your skin heal. Your face doesn't need another product. It needs a restraining order from you. And then once you've done that for a few weeks, I would add things back one at a time so you actually know what's doing what. All right, real quick, if you're sitting there going, okay, but what order do I put all this in? And how do I climb that ladder without ending up peeling like Deb? Well, that's the whole reason that the Vanity Club exists. It's where the women who actually figured their skin out compare what order they layer things, how they fix a wrecked barrier, and so much more. So in this show, I give you the what, but the club is where we all get together and talk about the how. The link is in the description if you want to join us. All right, chapter 4, the treatment that I spent $13,000 on so you don't have to. And still coming up, the part of all of this that nobody thinks about and the comment that nearly cost me a phone. I'll tell you about it. So 4 is microneedling. And there are 2 totally different animals here, so I'm going to need you to stay with me. First, the little needle rollers and pens that you buy online. By themselves, they're fine. The danger there is you. See, I see people all the time not sterilizing, using needles that run way too long, and going too deep or too rough. So you're not actually building collagen, you're just scarring yourself, and you're left with dark spots that, well, don't really go away. All right, now let's talk about the other animal, the real machine in a real office, RF microneedling, like Morpheus8 and other similar treatments. Here, we're talking needles plus heat going deeper into the skin. Now, the FDA actually put out a warning on these devices in October of 2025 and said that it can cause burns, scarring, fat loss, and even nerve damage when things go sideways. And if you have a darker skin tone, heat devices carry even more risk of burns and dark spots, so the provider matters even more. I cannot overstate how important a good provider is. This treatment cost me $13,000 because I went all the fuck in. I said I thought more was more, like I believe that shit. So this was Deb at her most expensive. I did 4 sessions on my face and my neck, and it gave me fat loss I absolutely did not order. And at our age, we can't afford to lose volume in our face. We are trying to keep what we've got, not melt it off by appointment. Now, I also did it right above my knees because, ladies, you know how our knee skin gets as we get older. That also didn't do shit. Now, before anyone panics, I want you to hear me out on this because this matters. I am not telling you that this treatment is bad. The science is real. The tech works, and some women get great results from it. They love it. They use a great provider who actually knows the machine on a face that's the right candidate, and I love that for them. Now, my provider was supposedly top tier. I vetted her like I was hiring a nanny, and I still walked out 13 grand lighter with less of my own face. Sometimes it just goes wrong. So do it at your own risk and vet your provider like your face depends on it, because it does. All right, chapter 5, the thing that you're skipping that makes every treatment you just paid for kind of pointless. Then up next, I'll read you that comment that had me thinking, is this really what we've come to? But first, chapter 5, you cannot out-treat a starving body. So let me explain what the fuck that means. So people ask me all the time, what is the aftercare protocol for my laser, my CO2, my microneedling? And they're thinking, creams and cold packs and all the surface stuff. And that is important. Trust and believe that is important. But almost nobody thinks about the part that actually does the work, which is what's going on inside the body. This is literally my field. I'm a clinical nutritionist, have been for over 16 years, so let me be clear. A laser, a fractional CO2 resurfacing, microneedling, all of it, that is a controlled wound. We do this shit on purpose. And the result that you're trying to get, the one that you paid for, the glow, the tightening, none of that is going to come from the machine itself. It comes from your body rebuilding in the weeks and months after. And your body builds collagen out of protein with vitamin C as a required tool, plus a few other things like zinc and so on and so forth. So if you spend $3 grand on a laser and then go home to a dinner of 7 almonds and an iced coffee, then you just ask your body to build a house with no lumber. The laser did its job and you skipped yours. And this is even bigger than lasers. I've done Sculptra myself, and it is the perfect example. Sculptra isn't filler, doesn't plump you up on its own. It is a collagen stimulator, which means it tells your body to build new collagen over the next few months, and that is the result. So if I didn't have the protein and the vitamin C and all the stuff I needed to actually build that collagen, I would have paid thousands plus dollars for nothing. So if it were me, before and after my treatment, I'd get my protein up and I would actually feed the result that I'm paying for, because you cannot build collagen on oat milk and good intentions. I wish you could. Okay, we're halfway through and you've made it through your face. Congratulations, your skin is going to be fine. Now we get into your body, and this is the good half, because this is where you get to stop working so hard and seeing better results. But before we do, I have to read you this comment because I swear it's the whole reason any of this matters and one of the reasons I wanted to do this episode. So chapter 6, somebody left a comment on one of my videos, as they do, and said that the video was, and I quote, narcissism masquerading as self-care. I kind of laughed too at first. I did. I laughed. It was funny. But here's the thing. It is genuinely fucking crazy to me that caring about yourself gets compared to a personality disorder. Like, ma'am, what chapter of the DSM is moisturizer in again? I must have missed that one. I don't know. I guess I didn't read it. Here's the thing. Some women truly don't care about any of this shit. They just don't. And that is completely fine by me. The other day on Instagram, a woman sent me a DM and she said, I'm 45. I've never touched Botox or filler. I love me some gua sha and castor oil. Like, that's the kind of lady she was. She even said to me, listen, we have got totally different values. And I was like, okay. But then she was like, I like you. I think that's great. I think you're hot as fuck. I think I'm hot as fuck. She was a class act. We don't agree on a single thing, and I love her. It's amazing. She's a castor oil lady, I'm needles and lasers lady, and we are both 100% correct. Because that's how this works. We all get to choose. We all get to choose whatever the fuck we want to do with our bodies. The problem was never the woman who skips the needle. The problem is the person who needs to diagnose you with a personality disorder because of the shit that you do to your own body in your own time with your own motherfucking money. Vanity was never the problem. Settling for less so nobody feels uncomfortable, that's the problem. So if you're looking for women who can compare notes with zero judgment every single day, that's the Vanity Club. It's where we trade the actual provider names, the recovery that works, and the things that we would never do again. So come find us before your next multi-$1,000 lesson. I already took that one for the team, so we're good there. The link to the club is in the description. All right, chapter 7, moving on. Your belly fat and why it's genuinely not your fault the way you think. And then we'll get into the part where I admit that I did everything right for years, but I had it completely backwards. So let's talk about the belly, that new softness that showed up around your 40s and refuses to leave. Kind of like that boyfriend that I broke up with back in high school who came to my house and sat for hours waiting for me to come home. Finally, my dad said to him, son, one of us is going to leave this house in the next 2 motherfucking minutes, and it is not going to be me. It's a true story. It's a true story. I never saw him again. Now, unfortunately, unlike I don't fucking remember his name. I literally don't remember his name. Unfortunately, like that dude, we can't just threaten belly fat. I mean, but wouldn't that be amazing? That would be great. So let's get to what really works. Everybody wants to blame cortisol and just go buy a supplement. I get it, but that is not the answer. The cortisol and belly fat thing is real. Don't get me wrong. Chronic stress genuinely tells your body to park its fat right around your middle. That part's true. The lie is that you can fix it with a cortisol pill. You can't. You just, no. Nobody is flushing stress hormones out of their body with a $20 gummy. And the gut punch is that the stuff that's spiking your cortisol is the exact stuff you think is the right thing to do. Things like starving yourself, grinding through brutal workouts, and, not sleeping. Now, let me tell you how I know, because I did every one of these things myself with a, gold star when I was finished. When I hit perimenopause, and I didn't even know that that's what it was yet, my body started getting softer no matter what I did. So I did what worked when I was 30. I ate less and I worked my ass off. I was on the elliptical every single morning. I was doing weights right after, sometimes more elliptical or yoga in the afternoon. This was Deb at her absolute finest, trying to be her absolute fittest and failing harder than a 4th grader in college. And oh my gosh, I was so smug about it. I was so smug about it. I was up at 5 a.m., sweating through a sports bra, feeling morally superior to everybody else who was still asleep, who, plot twist, were all about to look better than me because they were fucking sleeping. You can't make it up. As a result of all of that hard work, my body just got softer and more exhausted and also more inflamed. Turns out I was doing the whole thing backwards because all of that, the eating less, the grinding cardio, the skipped sleep, it spikes cortisol. And high cortisol tells your body to hang on to belly fat and burn your muscle for fuel. So I was grinding harder than ever, and my body was using every bit of that stress to dig in and hold on. I was paying for the privilege of getting softer. The thing that actually lowers cortisol is the boring stuff, not the gummies. I know, Susan, but they're not going to work. I mean, you can eat them if you want. They taste good. Anyways, it's the boring stuff. It's sleep, eating enough to fuel your body, eating clean, eating the right foods, not punishing yourself at the gym, and letting go of some of the shit that you're carrying. Because if we're being honest, it's just so much. So stop doing and carrying more and start doing it smarter, which conveniently is the next chapter. So chapter 8 is the thing that so many of us were told to avoid that's actually the one non-negotiable. And still coming up, the shot that half of you are on right now and you're doing it wrong. And then the last mistake, which isn't a product at all. But first, chapter 8. So chapter 8 is not strength training. You're not lifting weights, and I get it, because for a long time, I didn't want to do it either. I was a cardio queen, and I didn't love the weights. I had lifted weights when I was younger, and to be honest, I was over it. I was like, who needs it? Yep, that was Deb back on her bullshit. And for those of you already typing in the comments, I don't want to get bulky, let me squash that fear in 5 seconds. Women do not have the ability, the testosterone, to accidentally build big muscle. It takes men years of trying on purpose to look like that. Being scared that you're going to get too muscular is like being scared that you'll accidentally become a billionaire. Relax, it is not on the table. Here's what actually happened when I finally put down the cardio and picked up the weights. My body got smaller, not bigger. My shape changed. My confidence changed. You see, muscle is dense, so it takes up less room than the fat that it replaces. I spent years on the elliptical going absolutely nowhere, literally and fucking figuratively, when the answer was a pair of dumbbells the whole time. So if it were me, I would stop treating more cardio like the answer and I'd pick up something heavy 2 or 3 times a week. That's the whole secret, and most of us were never told it. And that brings us to chapter 9, the shot. I know, wait for this one. And still coming up, the very last mistake, and it's the one that affects all of the others. So chapter 9 is the shots, the injections, if you want to call them that, whatever. I'm talking GLP-1s, tirzepatide, retatrutide, all of them. And yes, technically a couple of those aren't even GLP-1s, but you know exactly what I mean, right? Like we're not in chemistry class. Now, real quick, I've got a whole episode on GLP-1, peptides, hormones, several episodes. If you want to go deeper on those topics, go check those out. So these shots do work. I'm not going to lie. The fat will come right on off. But if you do them wrong, a huge amount of what you can lose is muscle, not just fat. So in the larger studies, up to around 40% of the weight that people lost was lean muscle mass. That's almost half. So you can end up smaller on the scale, but softer and weaker with a slower metabolism than you started with. And the grip strength of a wet paper towel. Nobody wants that. Listen, you did not stab yourself in the stomach every week to come out on the other side soft. Now, the good news is it is completely avoidable. You eat enough protein, you take your creatine, and you lift weights while you lose weight. That's it. The goal was never to be smaller, it was to be strong and lit up at whatever size you land at. This is what I'd look at. It's not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on the internet, but talk to yours about protecting your muscle while you're on these shots. All right, chapter 10, this one matters more than anything else on the list. And number 10 is actually putting yourself last. Please hear me out on this. Here's the double standard that makes me fucking crazy. We'll drop money on a car, kitchen remodel, the kids' everything. Nobody bats an eye. But if you spend that same kind of money on your own face or body, suddenly it's a problem for a lot of people who don't even matter. They'll say it's vain or frivolous or too much, but not one of them is living your life and your body. So I genuinely don't know why the fuck they think they get a vote. Your face is the one thing you wear every single day in every single photo into every single room, every business meeting, you name it, for the rest of your life. That car loses half its value the second you drive it off the lot, but your face is yours forever. And personally, I just stopped justifying it a long time ago. Yes, it takes time and money. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for letting me know every 5 fucking comments on YouTube. So does everything worth having. So whatever you do with all of this, do it because you decided that you wanted to and that you were worth it. not because someone handed you the permission slip, because the truth is you never needed it. So on that note, a toast. I'd like to thank myself for spending $13,000 on a lesson so I could hand it over to you for free. For grinding it out on that elliptical at 5 a.m., exhausted and smug until my own body set me down and taught me better. For caring about my face out loud in public where a stranger called it a personality disorder and still never apologizing for a second of it. For finally retiring Deb, the woman in me who thought more was always the answer. And to the woman who's done making herself smaller so everyone else feels comfortable. To every woman who got told that caring about herself was vanity and kept right on caring anyway. To who we were, to who we are, and to the hottest fuck versions of ourselves we're becoming. For that and so much more, I'd like to thank myself. Cheers.